Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood, and this video we're going to completely morph the lantern template design into an entirely different project, but not having to start from scratch. We're going to turn this into a gazebo. Stick around. So I was asked to help someone the other day with a file that they got online, and it was a really nice looking file, but it was not LightBurn friendly. Nothing about it worked in LightBurn, and it was needed a lot of work. But it inspired me to take my template, or my lantern template design that I have on hobowithwood.com, and we're going to morph that into a gazebo. So, without further ado, let's jump over to LightBurn. I've already pulled in the basic template design. And if you downloaded the template from hobowithwood.com, this is what you get for the gazebo. And you can use this to create your own patterns, like I did here for the Jeep designs. And I've got one for Halloween and different things like that. Now, I've got a few of them on the website. But this is the basic template. And I'm going to use that to create the gazebo. And if you don't see a gazebo right now, don't worry. You're not the only one. Because I don't see a gazebo right now, but we're going to turn it into one. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do, and this is something you should get in the habit of doing, is if you're when you're starting a new file, go ahead and save it right out of the gate, because LightBurn, and back to me again, LightBurn will automatically save your work every so many minutes, depending on how you have it set up in LightBurn. There are preferences. I think I've got mine set up to save as often as possible. It's about once every minute or once every 2 minutes. But if you don't name your file when you first start, if you just start out and it's a untitled project, it will save that in your documents folder in your computer. If you're using Windows, you File Explorer, go to My Documents and or your Documents folder, and there it is. It'll be an untitled LightBurn file. But if you name it and save it in a predetermined location, even before you've done anything, even before you put a single square or circle on there, go ahead and say save as gazebo and where you're going to put it at. And then as you work, LightBurn will be saving that every so many minutes in that predetermined location with that file name. And that will save you some headaches if you have a problem with crashing computers, power interruptions, anything like that. You don't want to be 3 hours into a design and lose it all, or think you did. So getting into the habit of saving your file right from the get-go will save you a lot of headaches. Even if you only have that headache once, it's a headache you don't want to experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to tell this, because I opened up an existing file, it's got the lantern template. I'm going to tell this to save as, and I'm going to give it a new destination. I'm not going to put it in my e-commerce yet. We're just going to go to LightBurn, and I'm going to put it in my LightBurn jobs in a new folder, and this will be gazebo. And let's name it gazebo. Now it is saved in my LightBurn folder, and now as I work in design, LightBurn will periodically save this every so many minutes, and I don't have to worry about losing my work as I go. So now, what am I going to do? I'm going to make this, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to use my toolpath over here. This is a 300 by 300 toolpath, and so is this one. Well, I say I'm going to make it bigger, but if we see here, I've actually got those side panels as large as I can make them and cut them out of one piece. So I'm not going to be able to make it really any bigger, any taller. That's okay. That's okay. We'll leave it at that height. It'll be less work. All right, so this is going to be my sides of the gazebo. This one is the door on the lantern, and I don't need that door anymore. So we're going to go ahead and delete that door, and I'll in fact, I'm going to make a bunch of duplication or a bunch of changes to these side panels. So I'm going to just go ahead and delete all but one. And now I'm going to start making the modifications to this. And let's go with we're going to put we'll put some lattice across the top. And some gorbles, I think that's what they call those, little corner accents underneath the lattice. So to do that, I need to, first I'm going to use my rectangle tool on a toolpath. Can I get the toolpath? There we go. Let's come up here, right in the corner. Yeah, and come down and just draw to about there. I'm just going by eyeball, going by look. Is that what I want? About there. We'll try it. We'll see. So if that's about the size I want, then I'm going to select the actual rectangle and bring it down in height to about there. And again, I'm just eyeballing this because I'm going to have these snap into there. So there's going to be the distance from here to here. And I want that to be about the equal distance, and it looks like that's pretty close, but I can get it exact by simply saying take this and this and group it, and then put the toolpath in the center of those. Oh, no, didn't work that way. Undo. Because it's taking the whole size. I want to do it equal space distance between them. So I need to, my bad, I need to ungroup those and then select that line, that toolpath, and that. And now tell it to distribute with even space between them, and there we go. That's perfectly spaced between those. Alright, so now I can get rid of that toolpath. I didn't want to get rid of all of that. I want to get rid of that toolpath. Why is it doing that to me? I only want that. There we go. Alright, now, this up here, I want to make this a lattice. And how am I going to create my lattice? Well, I'm going to do that with simple lines. So I'm going to first make sure I have a line that will extend. So get my pencil tool. And let's put it on the black layer and start right here in this corner, and I'm going to hold shift, and holding shift will make it draw either straight or at a 45, and I want it at a 45, and I want it to be beyond that toolpath, and that should be the longest line that I'm going to need. Any other line is not going to be any longer than that. So if that's my line, I can then say, alright, let's select that line and align it to the left side of that toolpath. Nope, we're going to have to butt it up. And I really don't have to be that close about it. Just get it anywhere near there. And now I'm going to do an array. Come over here. And I want to do columns. and I want to get those about there. I think let's go there, 15, negative 15. Create enough to fill that entire area and say okay. Go ahead and group them and select them. Duplicate that, Control D, and flip it. Alright, so now I've got that pattern going on. Now let's group all of that. And I want to do offset and 1 mil. Let's see. Round and corner don't matter, but let's try it because I tell it to do both. And 0.5. There we go. Now I can start to see. All right, so there's doing an offset inward and outward from that line, a 1/2 mil. So that should be a total of 1 millimeter. I don't want it that flimsy. So if I do 1.5 mil, that's going to make I made my lines too close together. So let's try that 1 mil, 2 mil. All right, we'll try that. Let's see how it looks. That's going to give me, should be inward and outward 1 millimeter, so that should be a 2 millimeter line. So say okay, delete the original, put it on a cut path, and let's hold shift and put it in the center of that toolpath like that. There we go. That looks good. That puts that at even. That looks good. And yeah, that actually doesn't look terrible. In fact, I can yeah, I can just get rid of those. I like that. I think I like that. So we will say A, subtract, we know we want the intersection of that. So we'll use our Boolean assistant to make sure the intersection right there, that's what we want. Well, is it? No, that's what we want. We want the subtraction tool. Because if we use the intersection, it's going to cut that entire perimeter out and that whole thing will fall away. We don't want that. We want that subtraction right there. And say OK. And now I'm going to get rid of those little bitty inconsistencies by ungrouping it. And then I will just select all of that and delete it. And I'm over here and do the same thing and delete. Alright, so there I have a lattice in that top portion there. And now let's and that looks like that's a little much of a gap now that I've got that pulled back, but we can play with that. We can play with that still. That's fine. Let's look at my corner accents. Art library, corners. Let's do well, let's look at that. And then do an offset, outward, outer shapes only. Do not delete the original. And say OK. I don't know if that's going to work for us or not, but I think it will. We'll see here. because that needs to be, well, let's just group it and align it left and top. All right. I don't like where that's sitting, so let's come in one, up one. That I like a little better, and we'll go ahead and bring it in a little more. There. Let's see what that looks like. So let's ungroup that, duplicate that, group that back together, flip it, and then do that one left or right top, or actually do that one right, and then actually I think I remember I went 1, 2, and then half and half. Yep. All right, now ungroup that, and that, these two need to be grouped and welded to that. Nope, subtracted from that. Yeah, like that. All right. Okay. Now, I want to change up a little few things. Oh my, let's come back and look at the physical piece. So that I'm not hating. I'm looking at the dimensions, what I'm going to be able to do with. So if I leave that like that, that's going to be that overall size. And I want to put, you know what? Ooh, I want to do. I'm going to elevate it. I'm going to put a base on here and then stairs going up to the gazebo. This is actually going to be more like a town square bandstand. You know, big gazebo still, but it'd be more like a bandstand style when I'm done with it. So I'm gonna put it on a platform, stairs going up to it, and then I'm gonna add another tier up here. I'll make this be the top one. I'm gonna put one in between these two. So this size will stay the same, but I want to put something in between these two to elevate this even more. Of course, it won't be the Jeep, so it won't be a duck. It may be nothing. All right. So let's look at the base. Thinking. Actually, I think I can do, yeah. Yeah, all right. It's starting to come together in here, and it's a scary place. So, all right, back to LightBurn. All right, so if I leave that, but I'm going to come over here and let's do, actually I'm going to come right, I'm going to give me a rectangle again, and this time I want to do from here, hold shift, don't want to hold shift? Yeah, we'll try shift, and come to here. And that's going to be too tall. So let's bring that down. In fact, I know I want that to be, I want that to be about 32. So unlocked aspect ratios and 32. Oh, I had my anchor in the wrong point. I want to put my anchor in the bottom center and tell it 32. All right, I think I'm gonna make. I think I might. In fact, I can even do this. I can, because this was a little bit big for right now, or we're gonna arrow it up 1.5 millimeters. Do the same thing here. I'm gonna select this, and I'm going to need to ungroup it. So I'm going to node editing. There we go. And I'm going to select all of those nodes, and I'll go up 1.5. Then I'll select those images and go up 1.5. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's looking better. Because what I'm looking at, this is going to be the new floor height. Is that? You know what? Let's do instead of 32. Let's make this 24. That's even better yet. All right, so there's going to be the floor height right there. So this is going to come up to here. And go to node editing. And let's actually bring us a toolpath or a guideline from here to there. And now I'll go back to node editing and bring those nodes right. Oh, you know what? Wrong. Control Z. I brought the code. I didn't need that one. I needed a vertical. So I needed to come here to here. There we go. And now go to node editing and put those two nodes. Select them both, and I can just drag this one to that intersection point right there. All right, done. So now I can get rid of that, and I don't really even need that. That's 24 millimeters. All right, it's there to there. And I'm looking at this, you know, I could even tighten this up and make this even better. So let's do, we're going to select all of these and delete all those. We'll get rid of all the halves and group all of those and take them up 1 mil, and we'll take this up another mil. And we might even actually do more. I'm going to take that one up another one, and then get the images. All right, something happened. I messed up something somewhere. I didn't get all my pieces. So Control Z. Yeah, I didn't get all those pieces. Those aren't lined up. All right. So that and that. You know, for that matter, I can just do that over. We'll just leave that. Let's get rid of this, 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 and this. And we'll come over here and get rid of all of that. Nodes. We'll leave that one. Letter D, and we'll leave. Are there two in there? Yep. Let's get that, get rid of that, and that, and that. And there we go. All right, now let's grab those two and bring them up where I want them. Let's try that for right now. Yeah. All right. So now that and that, group those. Do an offset. Do not delete. Say OK. Put it on the red layer. And then group all of that. And we're going to bring it up. To there. And we'll do, let's see what it looks like down a little bit. So down and down. Those have got to be touching. Those are just not the best corner pieces. Let's look at a different corner piece. I was trying not to use the angular pieces, but let's look at this. Offset. Let's do corners. Nope, let's do round again. And let's do a 1/2 mil. Yep, that's better. Don't delete. Say OK. Group all of it. Left and top. And I want to do there and there, there. Let's just see what that's going to look like. Ungroup that. Put that on the cut layer. I don't know. All right, I got another idea. This one, I'm going to do delete, delete, want to do that. I wanted to hit the letter D. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like that. Let's group all of that, do an offset. Group all of that. Yeah. Or do I want to? Yeah. I started to do this as an engrave and that cut out, but no. No. A better idea. Better idea. I like that shape, but let's do this. In fact, what is the length of that piece there? It's 46. So if I do this as 40, lock-hair aspect ratio, the width is 46 divided by 3. So that's going to give me about a third of that total width there. So if I take that and then just do an offs, I want to do an offs. No, let's just put it on the cut layer. What is that? What size is that? It's about a 1/2 mil. It's not big enough. All right, so I do need to do offset both inward and outward, deleting the original, and we'll do a 1/4 mil and take a look at that and say okay. And get rid of that. Got that. That should be about 1 millimeter. Not that. I want ruler. Yeah, that's 1 mil. One and a half. That's better. Take that. Left top. Duplicate it. Mirror it. Right. And then group those. And A, subtract B. Is that what I want? I think that's what I want. Let's get rid of these little guys. So ungroup that. And yeah, I think I like that better. We'll go with that anyway. All right. So there's the floor. There's, all right. So if that's going to be the floor, there is no door on these anymore, so I can get rid of the hinge point. But I do need to have my other 3 over here. So I'm going to select those 3, group them, duplicate it, and just air it up 1 time. And then take this entire piece, minus that, and that, and rotate it. Oh. There we go. And then arrow that down 1 time. And that puts that back where I need it. And then I can just take this one and rotate it and duplicate that, Control D, and tell it to go to the center of that. There we go. Now I've got those. This is going to be the base, that's the roof. So let's take this one and group it. I'm going to bring it over here for a second because I need to look at something. So if the base is going to snap in here to here, I need to have another piece that I will have set up here. So I'm going to draw a toolpath of what my base is from here to there, and let's just check here. Yeah, that's 2.8. So say OK. The width of that is 59,367. So anchor point is here, and it's 59.637. Nope, it's 56.937. No, that was, let's see, 59,367. 59,367. There we go. All right, so that needs to align here. Alt Shift V there. And now I want to come in here, and I need to know the distance. Let's try this. Let's try to do a polygon from here, holding shift to here, and then tell that to go to center. Alright, so ever how wide that is, which is 101,662, that's how tall I want it to be. So I'm going to leave that and tell this to go 101,662, 101.662. And I had my anchor point in the wrong place. It didn't go where I wanted it. So put it back. There we go. Alright. It's close. That tells me I don't have these in the right spot, because all the rest of these are right. So when I did that duplication, it didn't quite work out where I wanted it to be. So I need to fix that. So I can come over here. Let's try this at, no, that's not going to be right. So rotate this. Get my measurement tool. That's 0.53 mil. Somebody at the door. Okay, we're back. I had a knock at the door, and let's jump back in. I got visitors in the shop, so who knows what's going to happen, but let's go back to LightBurn. So, I fixed the alignment there, got everything where it needs to be. I'll need to do the same thing over here, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to continue to work with the floor. And this new polygon here is going to be the floor of the gazebo or the bandstand. So, and then this is going to be the door going in for the bandstand gazebo. So let's get us a rectangle, and we'll do 3 by 10. 10, 3, and then duplicate that, Control D, duplicate it, move it over. Let's a little there, and I'm just eyeballing this. Group that and put it in the middle of that, and we can move it a little closer together. And with that and grouped and center it up. That looks good. Alright, so that needs to align upwards. Alt-Shift-V. There we go. And now this, I need to duplicate. Bring that over here. Let's bring our floor down. And let's take this and center it. And Alt-Shift-V again. That's good. And let's put that there. And now we'll do a circular array. And do 6 copies. That's good. Group the results and say OK. And try welding it, but that don't always work. It should, but it don't. Weld. And no, it don't work. It worked on 2, 3, 4, 5. Less than half of them. So let's undo. So we'll have to ungroup all of that. And overlap it. Overlap it. Group it. Weld it. Rotate it. Oh. Didn't rotate the whole thing. Let's try that again. There we go. Grab the whole thing and rotate it, rotate it. There we go. Down, overlap, up, overlap. Group that. Weld that. Rotate it. Overlap it, overlap it, group it, weld it, and now I need to use my resize tool to fix the shape or the size on all of them, and that's going to be tab height, and they need to be 3 millimeters, and we'll increase our tolerance until we find them all. There we go, and apply, and now those are all fixed to 3 millimeters. So that's done. So that's going to be the floor that'll snap into here, and I need to take those two and weld it to these two. There we go. So now those will cut out, the floor will sit right on top of that. And that's the very bottom. We're going to modify the bottom because we need to put some stairs on this thing. So there's our floor, but before we do that, let's put the wood planks on the floor. So I'm going to take and let's start with polygon, and come to the middle of this. Where there it is. Hold Shift and Control, and draw out a polygon about like that. And then we'll do an outward offset, outward only, using corners. And let's look at about, yeah, say, we'll just say 5 mil. See what that looks like. Do not delete the original, say OK, and now come over here and hold Control and just click on the offset tool. And that's going to continue to do that. And I don't hate that, but I can actually just say group all of that. In fact, we'll group every bit of that. Hold Control and deselect the outermost piece, and then we'll bring it all up to size to about there, and then I will select that outermost one and delete it, and there we go. Now let's take all of these and put those on an engrave, but I don't want it to be like that. I don't want that to be filled. Those are going to be lines. So we'll get rid of that and say OK. Now I want to have that done up in pie sections. So I'm going to select all of that and I'm going to rotate it there, and then I'm going to draw a straight line, pencil tool with the black layer, come and get the center right there, hold shift and draw a straight line out to the edge to there. Alright, and that was supposed to stay on a cut path there. Now select that line and do a circular array, not offset, circular array 6 times, there we go, and say OK. So now I've got a pie grid that's going to engrave and give me 6 sections of floors, and there's my boards for my floors. Alright, so we're done with that. And now let's look at the stairs. Let's set the floor over here. And what is the width of this? This is 46.667 wide. So let's put the stairs that are going to be filling that entire space, allowing for 3mm material on each side, set 6. So the stairs are going to be 40.5 mil wide. So let's do a square or a rectangle, and let's do 40.5, and let's just do it as a square, 40.5. And if I take that, and in fact let's get the snapping cursor right there and put it in the center right there. Okay, yeah, I like that. That'll give me, if I put a 3mm handrail up the side there, they'll kind of line up. It won't be right up against the edge, and I don't hate it. But if we do that, let's just say, what was that, 40.667. So anchor point in the very center, 46.667, subtract 6. There we go. That'll put it right up against the middle, or 3mm right up against the edge. Alright, so if that's going to be the footprint of the base of the stairs, if I take that and tell it to go to the center of that, where, oh, I didn't pick the square. Square, move to the center of that, and then I could have just say with Alt-Shift-V to point that up. There we go. Now I want to do 3 sets of stairs on this piece. It's going to use more material, but that's what I want. I want to have a set of stairs on every other side of that. So I'm going to use the circular array again and do 3 copies and say OK. They're grouped. Hold shift and weld it to this. Does it work? Well, it worked on 1 too, but it didn't work on that one. But that's okay. I can take and select every bit of this, rotate it, ungroup it, and overlap it, and then weld it. And then that was 40.667. So let's do 40.667. And I thought I had it locked. 40.667. Put that in the corner. And that's my toolpath. I don't need that right now. I'm going to get rid of that. But now I need to have a toolpath. Well, I don't need that one. I need it over here. Did that a minute ago. So there. And let's grab that and go to node editing. Grab those 2. And just bring it up to there. And there. That's back to the same size. And I could have actually treated that as a tab. Oh, undo. What'd I do? There we go. Didn't want to do that, I want to do that. And there we go, delete that. There is the tool, there we go. When I just did that and needed to change the size of it, I didn't think about it. I could have treated that as an actual tab and told it to go to 40.667. In fact, let's just do that. I've got that selected, go to resize slots and selection tool, and the tab height is going to be 40 millimeters, 0.667, and you see there everything is moving, and not 40. I want to do that when it's 40. Yeah. Say apply. What happened? Oh, I did the wrong thing. Control Z, or I just come back up here and tell it to be 40.667, and the old one now is 3 because I messed it up. And there we go, and apply. And there we go. And that fixed that. And where I needed to fix that one, I could have used the resize slots and selection tool to do that. But I didn't think about it. But now I did. And now we've done it. So let's grab that. Let's pull this over here so they ain't overlapping. Alright, so there's going to be the base. The very, very bottom. This is going to slide in here, here, and here. But now I need one for the other side. Alright, so if I want to do one for the other 3 sides, I'm going to duplicate this entire thing, Control D, duplicate it, bring it down here, and the floor needs to maintain those slots. So first thing I need to do is, those were 3 by 10, I'm pretty sure. Come here. Draw from corner to corner. Oh. Rectangle. I forgot I had the selector tool as default. Corner to corner. And then just check that. Is that 3 by 10? And that one's 3 by 10. Yep. Alright, so those are where they need to be. So now I can select this piece, go to the node editing, and get rid of those nodes at the bottom. That creates a straight line across there. And now for this, I want to create, I want to do, and we got a phone call now. And back to LightBurn. All right, so what were we doing? What were we doing? We were going to make. A. I was trying to decide: do I want to do handrails? Do I want to do a little pickets, or do I want to just stay with the lattice design? And I think I'm going to do handrails on this one. I think I'm going to do something different. So let's take this, and we're going to just start. This is our duplicate. I'm going to just start arrowing this up, and let's set our movements to 1 millimeter, and say OK. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I want to do that. Let's go 36. 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just see what that's going to look like. So if that's going to be the floor, let's bring a floor down here. Floor is going to be right there. And then I want to do pickets. And I want it to be, we'll go from here to here. Unlocked aspect ratio, and it needs to be the same width as this, which is 46.667. And we're going to anchor point there, 46.667. And I didn't get that in there. 46.667. There we go. And then I want to do an offset of that of let's try it at 3 millimeters first. Offset inward 3 mil. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like that. But say OK, delete the original, say OK, and then we're going to change the width back to 46.667. 46.667. And I didn't have the anchor point in the right spot. If you're going to use them, you need to constantly pay attention where they're at. There we go. And put the anchor point back in the middle. There we go. All right, so that's going to cut out. That's going to have that. Now this I want to do as pickets, I think. So let's do this. Let's do a rectangle here. And let's come down here and draw out something like that right there. How wide is that going to be? 2 millimeters. I think I'm going to like that. So let's go make that just 2 even. And is this 30 mil? It's 30 mil. It's 2 by 30. All right. And now let's align it to the left and then move it over 2 mil. 1, 2. And now let's create an array. With a 2 millimeter spacing. And that looks like that's about as many as we're going to get. And I'll increase that spacing. Make it uniform. So let's, in fact, before I do that though, let's go ahead and make the whole design. I want to do, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to change to my ellipse tool. And let's come right here and do that. And then, in fact, let's do that and then ellipse a little bit fatter, and then come down here and then let's go to a rectangle. And that is 3.84. Let's make this 3.84. center that up. And group those. Weld those. And let's see what these look like. Let's bring them a little bit closer together. Group it and weld it. I think I like it enough. So now let's put that, align it, because I made it bigger, made it wider. Let's align it to the left and then come off 2 mil, 1, 2, and then do the array. We're going 3. Let's do 2.5. Yeah, let's try that. And then let's do let's do that. That's better. And we'll group the results, select the results, then make sure it's in the center of that. There we go. And then if we can weld it, yeah, there we go. So now I gotta pick it. I've got my floor. All right, now I want to put no, I'm not gonna worry about that. I think I'm gonna leave it just like that. I was thinking about maybe putting a bench on the inside of. I'm not going to worry about benches on these. This is going to be more just open bandstand. So there, that's good. All right. So let's group all that. Be done with that for right now. That. Now I need to do the stairs. All right. So the stairs. What I do? 40.67, 40.67. All right. So shift, draw out a square, locked aspect ratio 40.667. There's my footprint, and I also want to make it my side profile of my stairs. So if it's 40.667 and I want to do 4 steps, let's draw out another rectangle and tell it to be 40.667. I didn't want to have aspect ratio locked. There we go. And then do this one at 40.667 divided by 4. So that's 10 mil. That works. So that'll give me 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. All right. So if that's going to be the tread of the step, I need to reduce this by 6 so I can put a 3 millimeter tab on here. And if that's 10, we'll make this, we'll make it 4. See, no, yeah, 4 millimeters high and 3. There we go. Get our snapping cursor. And snap it to the middle. There. Oh, there. And now we'll do the circular array 2 times. Group it, select the results, OK, and weld it. And there I have a tread. All right, and I'll need 4 of those. So 2 and 2 and 2 rows, 2 columns. Where did they, oh, what happened? I did the, there we go, 2 rows and 2 rows. And I can reduce that. There, that looks good. Okay, so there's my treads. Now for the side profile, ungroup it so I can see my size here. It's 10.167. So let's draw a square. 10.167 and 10.167. I didn't lock the aspect ratio. Let's put that in the very top corner. And let's do another array. And this time we're going to do a row, and we're going to do 0, and we're going to do, actually, can I do 10.167? Oh, didn't want to do that. Control Z. I'll just do this. I'm going to duplicate that 4 times or 3 times. Control D, 1, 2, 3, and just bring that down. Put it in the corner there. And the last one should go right between them. There we go. So now I'll take this, convert it to a path, go to node editing. I'm going to insert a node, and I'm going to put it there. Insert a node, put it there. Insert there. Insert. 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 Oh, bring it to there. Insert. And delete. Alright, so there's my side profile. I can get rid of all those inner pieces. Alright, now I need to put 4x3, isn't that what I did? Yep, 4x3. So I need to get a 4x3 snapping cursor. Actually, I need to get this one up there and snap it to the middle right there. Control D, duplicate it. Control D, duplicate it, and go ahead and do it again. And now snap them into place. There, to there, and there, to there. Group A, subtract that is that, and that one didn't go, even though I had it snapped into place. It's okay, we'll just ungroup it because it's not welded, it's grouped, and we'll just arrow it up and subtract that. And this isn't gonna work, but I'll just well, in fact, we'll just say A, subtract there, and that'll work. And now fix the sizes, resize slots and selection, old material, new material, 3, apply, done. Okay. So there's my treads, equal height step all the way up, and that'll take me right up into the door. Is it? Where did I go? Is that full? I think I went too high. I did. Because I want those steps to end there, and I was thinking I did those and I didn't. Good catch. So that actually only needs to be from here to here. And that's only 24. So I only need 3 steps. All right, so we got to start that over. All right. The width is 40.667. That's going to be the footprint, but this is only going to be 24 high. No, I just do that backward. 40.667 and 24. There we go. Yeah, that's better. So that's going to be the footprint. I got to change these. All right. Okay. You get to see the goof ups and all. All right, well, I can just go up here and do it. So let's duplicate that, bring that up here, and snap that to there. There we go. And let's take this, go into node editing, and just bring those down to there. Get out of node editing, move that up out the way, and then let's grab all of these, rotate it, and bring this back down. Node editing. And the last one, bring that down. And I can delete that. Okay, now these are no longer the right thing anymore. Control D, duplicate that. That's the actual width. It needs to be unlocked. The width is going to be less 6 millimeters, less 6, and then 40 points. No, it was 24, so it'll be 8. 3 steps, 8 millimeters there. And so if that's 8 millimeters, then this needs to be a 3 wide and 3.5. And put that there. Circular array. Okay. Weld, and there's a tread. All right, so I'll need 3 of those. Control D, 1, 2. Align them and then dot those 2 upward. There we go. All right, now. So those are 3 treads. This one's 4. I don't need that. But this needs to rotate that way. Yeah, because that's 24. Or no, let's see. yeah, I'm looking at the side profile, and so it's actually going to be 24 by 24. Is that right? Right. So that's, yeah, 24 and 24. So it's this, the side profile is a square. All right, and then the stairs are 8mm, and there's 3 of them. And actually, in this case, I can do this. Let's try this. I'm going to do something different. Just because you've seen one way, let's do another way, because there's always another way. If I select this, convert it to a path so I can see the nodes, and if I go to nodes, so if that is 24, half of that by hitting a node in the middle, that's 12. That's not going to work because that'll give me 6 and 6, and I did 3 8s. So I take that back. I was going to do, if I was going to do 4 steps, I could have done that. And actually, I want to do 4 steps. Nah, I think I just want to do 3 steps. Yeah. So take that back. We're going to delete that. Not that. I'm going to delete those with the letter D. And come back up here and just draw out a 8mm square. We'll do it the same way. Lock the aspect ratio, 8mm. Duplicate it twice, 1, 2, and then drag 1 to the corner, and drag another corner to corner. And then I can go into node editing. This time insert at that point, I for insert, I for insert, and then just drag this one to here, and then insert there and insert there. With that done, delete, delete, and delete. All right. Now I need my, I did 3 with 3.5. So it was three and a half by 3. And I got the aspect ratio locked. Just try that again, 3.5. There we go. And now if I grab that snapping curve, didn't want that. Let's bring you down. Grab that snapping cursor to there. Duplicate it twice. Control D, 1, 2. Bring you down, bring you down. And then snap there to there, and there to there, and select all of those, group them, then A, subtract B, gives me that. Alright, so now that will go on here, but to do that I'm going to need to, this was 24 wide, so let's do we'll do 8, 3 by 8. Eight by 3 in the center. I know, wrong button. I hit the cap lock button. Hold shift, center that up, and then alt shift V to put it there. And let's go ahead and then duplicate that. Control D, rotate it, grab the snapping cursor and snap it in the middle there. Select them both, group them, and let's go ahead and duplicate them for a second because we're going to need that again in a minute. And then A and B and weld it, and there we go. So now I'm going to need to take this guy and ungroup it, bring this one up here, and it's going to go on the inside right there. Control D, duplicate it, grab the snapping cursor and snap it there. Grab that. Let's group those. Control D, duplicate it, move it up there, and then A, subtract B. And that one, even though I snapped it, I used the snapping cursors. There's no reason that should not have worked. So ungroup it, make it bigger than it needs to be, and then A, subtract B. And now I need to change my slot size, but we'll wait till we get them all done. So now let's grab all of that, minus that, and rotate it. And then grab that one to there. And actually duplicated that. There we go. And then A, subtract B. And that time it worked. And now rotate it and grab that snap right there and snap it there. A, subtract B. Okay. All right, so there's that. That's going to snap in there, and now I got to put it on the face. It's going to go on this one. So this is going to be here to there, and then put our anchor point here and tell that thing to be 40.667. Is that not right? More than 46.667. Golly, 46.667. There we go. And now with that right, then this one, I need to rotate it, bring it up here, get our snapping cursor and snap it to the middle there. And then duplicate it, Control D, and bring it. Make sure I'm on the snapping cursor right there. There. And get rid of that. So now my stairs will snap in there and there. I've got that. Oof. But you know what? Actually, I don't mind that. The front's going to be, I don't mind that at all. The steps will be open. You'll see the open treads, and you'll see that on your porches. I don't mind that. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that be. I'm looking at, from the front profile, I've got the tread that's going to snap in there and snap in here. But when you look through the front, that's going to be open, and that'll be, and then down there is going to be open. But I'm okay with that, and it's less I got to do. So I'm going to need another one of these. So Control D, duplicate it, and rotate it. So there is one pair of stairs, but I'm going to need 3 of those. So duplicate that and duplicate that. So there's 3 pairs of stairs. I got 6, that, got the floor, got that. Now I think that's everything on the bottom, and now I need to fix the top. I need to, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this and then deselect that. I'm going to group all of this together. and then duplicate it and bring that duplication over here, because I know that these down on the outer piece are not right. So if I select all of this, deselect what I don't want that, and I don't want that, and then let's bring that over here, and then I'm going to hold control and deselect that and deselect that and delete all of those, and then take that, hold shift, select that, and bullseye it, and those are going to be lined up perfectly with those. That'll work. Now that's the roof, the first layer of the roof. I don't need this guy anymore, and I'm not going to use this or this or this. Let's go back and look at the actual piece. And I want to put a layer between the top panel and this. I want to pick that up, and I'm going to do that using the golden ratio. That by itself looked fine with that size because it's nothing really else. But when I'm starting to do multiple layers, I will use the golden ratio to go from the larger to the next to the next. And let's take a look and see what that's going to look like. But I'm going to use those. Well, let's just see. Let's see. All right. So if I use the golden ratio, this is my original outer perimeter. I'm going to duplicate that, Control D, duplicate it, and then I'm going to lock the aspect ratio, and the widest point, or the biggest number is the width right here. I'm going to come up here to this one. I'm going to divide it by 1.61. And I had the anchor point in the wrong spot. So just hold shift, select that, and put it back in the center. Alright, and then let's select that, put it in the anchor point in the center, and let's duplicate that and tell it also to divide by 1.61. There we go. Alright, so there will be my three sizes. I don't know that I'm going to do the height that way for all three pieces, because that's going to be much, I think. If we did, though, just for giggles, this has a height of 148. So if I had a square, well, we'll just take this. Well, no, we'll just do right here. We'll draw out a square from here to there. And it was 148, so unlock the aspect ratio, the height, 148 divided by 1.61. Yeah, so that wouldn't be, it'd still be way too tall. So we're going to do the aspect ratio on the perimeter size, but not the height. Might do it the height between the second and third top layer, but let's say let's say, well, in fact, what size is this? This is, the height is 24 combined with, so it's about 18 mil total. Let's do that middle one as 2. Let's start at 50 mil. So the height of 50. So if that was about 2 inches, that might be too big though, but let's just look. So if that's that, and then come over here and then draw a square from here to here. And this is a height of 50, then this one, if it was 50 divided by 1.61, that would be the aspect ratio for the height. We've got the aspect ratio for the width already. And then if this is, what was it, 148? Yep. So what was it, 148? In fact, let's just duplicate that. Control D, duplicate it, bring it up here, bring these up here, and yeah, I don't like that. I think that's just too big. Let's just shrink it down. In fact, let's do oh, I know what. I know that let's make this one actually, let's just delete that. Let's grab this, duplicate it, bring that up here, because I was happy with the way that height worked. And if that was 18 mil, yeah, or right at 18, right at 19 mil. So tell that one to anchor point at there, and a height of 19 times 1.61. Yeah. And then group those, bring that down here, and that one would actually sit there. And then the width of it, this is 131,925. And this is 81,941. And 50.895. So there, and you can envision, you know, that's how big all this is going to be. In fact, let's do this. We'll do that, Control D, duplicate it, and then anchor point in the, that's fine. Width is going to be less 6. And then the height is going to be whatever that is. And then this one, Control D, duplicate it, less 6, and then bring it down to where that one is. Control D, duplicate it, less 6, and bring it down to the other one. About there. All right, yeah, so that's giving you an idea. I like that. That's a good profile, I think. I think that'll work. All right, so let's get these figured out. Don't need that or that or that. We're not going to have changed those. We're going to keep those the same. So I don't need that. That is going to be for that. Okay. So let's take that, bring it up here, and let's grab our snapping cursor, snap it to the middle. Why is that not the same width? Did I just mess up myself in my way of thinking? All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Now no. I gotta work my tabs and slots, and then that's gonna tell me that that's gotta be. So if I come in here, and this is a width of 27.911. .911 divided by 3, and it needs to be 3. So there's my slot, and let's take and bring that to the center, and then I'm going to move it up 3 millimeters by 1, 2, 3. There's that. And then if I have this is 27.991, duplicate that, Control D, and tell it to be 27.991. Put that on a blue toolpath, and then duplicate or group that, and then let's do a circular array 6 times. All right, so they can be wider. All right. All right, so I need to know I'm coming in here 3, 6. So if I come in here, I select this, do an inward offset of 6 mil, say OK. I didn't want to delete the original. Didn't want to do that either. Come on. And then I can measure the length of that, and it is 34.04. So then I can tell this to be 34.04. And now when I group all those and do my circular array around here 6 times, my pieces will butt up, but they should not cause an interference problem. So I can say OK, and then ungroup all that, and let's turn off the red path, select all that and get rid of it. Turn the red back on. I don't need that one there. But I just forgot what that size was. That's okay. I'll just do that offset again. And okay, and the ruler 34.04. 34.04. There we go. All right, and then Control D, duplicate that, bring it down, snapping cursor, snap it to the middle there, and I can just duplicate it and do it again. Snapping cursor to snap there, group it and weld it. Alright, so that'll take care of that. Now I need to, this is going to be my topmost piece. Let's group all that, move this out the way. These outer perimeter pieces are for my walls. This I need to Control D, duplicate that, group that duplication, and put it in the center of this. Then I'm going to ungroup that and temporarily put this on a toolpath just so I can keep up with what's what. Alright, so there's the outer perimeter of that. That's going to snap in there. Those holes will go there, and then I need 6 of these guys. So those will go there with that. That's one layer. This, so that's the roof. That'll go on there. That's going on top of that. And then I need to do this guy. Control D, duplicate it, put that in the center of that. And I'm gonna ungroup. I don't need this one this time, and put this on a toolpath. There we go. So now I can see the 3 different roof lines. And these, ungroup, delete that, group that, and I'm going to double check these for still proper fitment. And that'll go, the bottom and that'll be the top. So I don't need this. And this, if I do keep it, I don't need that top one. Or that hole. That might go. Does that go? Yeah, well, I'd actually make that a little bit smaller yet. So just delete that and come in here to, well, we'll worry about that in a minute. First, let's check our size of our material. So this is a width of 19.014. And 3 mil. So if that snapped into there, and I did a circular array, they hit each other, so those are not going to fit there like that. So I'm going to just do those over. We'll just start over. It'll be easier than trying to reverse calculate it and do it all. So I'll do the same thing. I've got there, let's ungroup this. And if I've got this piece and we come in 6 mil, say okay. And then we're actually going to change all of that. We're going to get rid of that and that. And what is the width? 1852. $18.52 divided by 3, and it is 3. And we'll put that snapping cursor right there. Right there. Do I want to do it there? No, I want to do it on the outside. Thank you. There. And let's move this out the way. And go ahead and put that on a cut path. Circular array. Okay. Temporary toolpath. And is it 19104? And 3. Nope. So what was it? Where's my ruler? 1852. So anchor point here, 18.52. All right, so now that snaps to there, and circular array, and they meet up with no interference. All right, so that will be the size of the piece, and that was what, 19? So it was height was 19 times 1.61. Pretty sure that's what I had. So that ungroup, duplicate, circular array 2 times, group the results, select the results, and weld. And then I'll need 6 of those. No. I did that wrong. This was the top layer. So if this is the second layer, ungroup, it's 30.59. Which is what that is. Okay, so I was doing my math right, but I had my layers mixed up on which was which. So that is divided by 1.61. There we go. And now I can ungroup those and snap that to there. Group them, weld them, and now 6. Okay, now I need to fix all of this. That goes bye-bye, and that goes bye-bye. And I need to duplicate that, Control D, group it, and put it in the center of that. And now I can ungroup that, get rid of that. There we go. So now I can see, I think I'm gonna like that. Now for up here, I want to cover up those slots with a finished piece. So I'm gonna come back in here and do an offset of 1 mil, 3 mil. Yeah, 3 mil. And you know what? I'll do, just to give me a little extra room, I'll do 2.85 mil and say okay. That'll give me just a little bit of wiggle room to cover those slots up and not have to worry about the kerf. So that'd be the very, very top to cover that up. Side pieces, second layer, side pieces, and the roof for the gazebo slash bandstand. And we can do some designs in this to make that pretty. And that's actually a place you could personalize it and make it unique for your own. I'm gonna bring it down here, get everything on my work area. I'm actually going to need 3 of these and 3 of these, so I don't have everything on my work area. So let's grab that, make sure it's all grouped, bring that up here and do 3 of them. Okay, now I think I got everything. Now I want to look at what I'm going to do here. I think I may just do this same lattice. In fact, I'm curious. Let's ungroup that. Ungroup that. Group. Duplicate. Let's group all this back together. Okay, now for this, yeah. In fact, oh, you know what? Oh well, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work. First, let's do an offset of this of 3 mil. Do not delete anything, say okay. Go to offset or the nodes and delete those. So now we've got that. So now this, I'm going to center in that. Actually put it at the top. There we go. And I just need to Control D, duplicate that, and I'm going to bring it down to where these overlap. Get my snapping cursor, there we go, and snap it right there. I'm going to Hold shift, select that. Let's ungroup all of it, but they're all still selected. Now come to tools. The tools or range? Where is it? Tools, edit, delete duplicate. Edit, delete duplicates. 8 duplicates are found. Delete them? Yes. So now I've got no duplicates there. I can group that back together and now tell that to go to the center. And that'll give me half and half. Let's go back to align to the top. So there and there. That gives me full, but not full there. All right, well, let's go back to halves and halves. Bullseye it. And then say A and B, and look at our Boolean assistant. That's the one we want right there. And say OK, ungroup it, get rid of that junk right there. All right, and group that. Control D. Well, actually, you know what? I'll just do this over. Just delete that and delete that. Make sure all that's grouped and done. So that could be the second layer, and now I've got the lattice and the lattice that matches. And the top layer you could do as your own personal design, whatever you want it to be. If it was you're going to do it for your city bandstand, maybe it was your little city logo, whatever you want it to be. Or let's see here, art library, birds. Don't I have my birds? I don't have birds. I got birds somewhere. I got my cardinal. Maybe I got it in a moment. No. Oh, you know what would be kind of funny? You could do it as an engraving of a clock and make it look like it's the clock tower. That might be kind of cool. All right, now bring that down. Not too far. There we go. Flipped it. All right, now. And let's see here. I own the work area. I don't know how big that's going to be. How big is that? It's about 15 mil. That'll work. I believe it'll work. But we'll have to put that in a fill mode. So the others, let's put on a separate layer. We'll put on a blue layer. And then ungroup it, put that one on the black layer. There we go. And then variable text, test. All right. So this is a blank clock face that I have in my art library. I've created it, and I've got it created with variable text. And so it just makes a quick, easy setup for when I need to make a clock. And the way that works, when I go into variable test and test it, I can see my numbers. And if I want to bake those in there, then I hit bake and it'll make it a permanent. Before I do that though, so if I like that size and that's what I want it to be, I can come up here and hit bake, and it's going to bake those numbers in there. Now they're permanent, set in there. And if I have a certain time that I want to put in there, come in and let's get a circle. Put a circle right in the middle. Put it on the blue layer so it's filled. And then let's do a couple of arrows, clock hands. I don't think I have any in the art library. No. So we'll do, oh, wrong button. Rectangle. Put it in the center of that, and then let's duplicate it and reduce it, and then rotate it. Actually, you know what we can do? We can just do a circular array and tell it to do 12 copies. And say OK, and then get rid of the ones I don't want. I grouped it, so let's ungroup it. And then weld all of those together. And if I want to put a little triangle on there, we'll use the new triangle tool. Actually, before I weld it, we'll do the same. I should have done my triangle before I did the other array, but we'll do it that way again. That way I get my angle correct and say don't group them. Go ahead and select it, say OK, hold shift, deselect that one and delete the rest of them, and then grab that, snapping, and snap it right there. And then, did I get rid of that one up there? I didn't mean to do that. I did. And deselect that one and delete the rest of them. There we go. And now put that snapping cursor, weld, not group, weld. All right, so now I got a clock that shows 5 o'clock, and we'll just do that array again. Ungroup it. All right, I think that's done. I think now I need to cut it and test it, put it out, put it together, and then we'll get it on the website. Okay. That used to be this, and we had a bunch of interruptions today. I hope I didn't lose anything during the back and forth. I hope I picked up where I left off each time I had to stop. But now let's get this on the laser and start an assembly process. I'll be back. Won't take but just a second. Alright, so with the magic of video, we have our first completed prototype. I say first prototype because it's not the final. The second prototype's on the laser as we speak, and that's why we got fans and lasers running. It was a swing and not a miss, but a swing and a foul ball. Made contact, but didn't keep it in, playing field. I miscalculated on the stairs on two components of the stairs. I miscalculated on the distance. In fact, let me get it down here. See, you can see the gap. There you go. See the tab? You shouldn't see that tab. That tab should be inside the base of the gazebo. So I had it too far out, so I had to adjust that, bring the stairs in, and I miscalculated on the position of that slot that they needed to go into. So even if I did have it right, I never would have got those stairs on there because they'd have been hitting it. So I fixed those 2 points on the stairs. And then I got to looking at it and I said, okay, well, it looks nice, but it's a little bit plain. I wanted to bring it up a little bit. And initially I had thought about putting the lattice work in the three sides without the stairs, and I didn't do it. Just thought, well, okay, maybe it don't need it and to save some time. And I definitely didn't put them behind the stairs because the stairs are going to cover that up, and with the way that the stairs needed to fit in there and fit together, I felt like that would just kind of weaken that whole piece up, and it's not going to be seen when it's sitting on display. You're not going to notice it that much that it's not behind the stairs. But I did add it to the three without the stairs. But beyond just adding the lattice there, the lattice areas up here, they looked a little, they needed something. So I added a few details, and I also incorporated additional pieces to hide all the slots and tabs because I just didn't want to see all that. So let me show you in LightBurn what I did, and also explain what I do when I'm cutting out those completely enclosed slots like these on the roof with the kerf, because if you add your full amount of kerf to these slots, it's going to make it dang near impossible to get your material to fit into those. So what do I do about that if I'm adjusting my kerf when I'm cutting the part? Let's take a look. So first, what I did was I added the lattice to the bottom three pieces without the stairs. But I wanted to hide these slots as well. So what I did was made these three frames with 4 concave radius corners on it. Those frames will glue up here, and it will hide those slots and tabs and give some dimension to that base, add an extra dimension to it. On the top, I did just rectangular offset engraved fills around that, and I kept those completely rectangular. And then on the very, very top piece, I went back to concave radius on those pieces there. So those are got engraved framings around them, and so do these. So that's going to give it a little extra dimension. But on the roof, I've got all of these slots and tabs, and you'll notice I've actually got more on this one than I did on the one I just showed you in real life, in IRL. Well, I added these pieces. These are going to snap into these slots here in between the tabs that are needed for assembly, and with those being in between, there, and there, that piece is going to snap down on top of that and cover those slots and tabs up, and it'll be standing up vertical, and you'll have a nice little scallop, really, accent piece around the perimeter of the roof. And then I have additional pieces that are going to cover up the slots and tabs on here, and I've already got one there, so I've just made an additional piece there. So adding some detail to it, I didn't want to go to trouble of adding all that detail on the very first piece because I didn't know if it was going to work, and guess what? It didn't. It's rare that I get it right the very first time. But I am happy that those were the few mistakes on the stairs that I had to actually correct for on the actual design itself. Now, kerf. For those who don't understand kerf, kerf is the area that is blasted away by your laser. How thick is that cut? If you were using a physical saw, a jigsaw or a bandsaw or a table saw, your kerf is the thickness of the physical blade itself. Well, we don't have a blade with the laser, it's the width of the laser. And your laser has a different kerf on the X and the Y if you're using a diode laser. I've got videos that explain all that. If you want to go into a deeper dive on what kerf is and how it works, research the channel Hobo with Wood and kerf. But what I do when I'm doing kerf, I have calculated my perfect kerf for my laser. And when I've got external slots and tabs, like this one, then I add my full kerf adjustment to that layer. And then when that tab fits into its mating slot, it's a very tight friction fit. I can sometimes even get by without even using glue. But when you've got an internal slot that this has to slide up into, and that slot is completely surrounded on all four sides, if you add your full kerf to that, that's not going to fit. Because when you're got your material laying flat and you add kerf, an outward kerf, you're adding material to 3 of the 4 sides of an external tab like that. When you're cutting an internal slot, now you're adding kerf to all 4 sides of that piece, which makes it too narrow to put your material into. That's why if you use kerf and you have not done this, that's why you struggle to get your fit piece in there, or you find yourself having to sand these little tabs to get them to fit up in there. So what I do to compensate for that is, very simply, if you look, I've got my perimeter cut on my O2 cut layer, and then for the internal slots, they're on a separate layer, the O3 cut layer. And the difference is, if we look at the actual layers, I'm only adding a 0.06 on my internal slots, and I'm adding a 0.115 outward, almost double, on my exterior cuts. Now, my perfect kerf is about a 0.12, a 0.13, but this is brand new material that I'm working with here. And I did do some test cutting and test engraving on the material, but I didn't test the kerf on it. And just like you're engraving, different speeds and different powers on different surfaces, different materials, your kerf can vary depending on the material that you're cutting. Some burns better than others, some burns worse than others, all resulting in different kerfs. So that's why I kind of hedged my bet on my kerf on my red layer. I didn't use my perfect kerf. So I might have a little bit of a loose fit, but not terrible. It'd be better than no kerf. So if you download this file and you see the different cut layers, now you understand why. So we're still waiting on the Roly to do its thing on the second prototype, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back, and the Roly has finished its job. We have successfully completed the assembly process for the second prototype. And to recap, we started with a basic lantern template. And this is not the actual template. This is what I used to I used the template to make this, but it's just a basic lantern design with a little door on it. And we took this lantern template and transformed it into the gazebo. Now this was the first prototype, and it had mistakes, and I didn't do all the detail work to it I wanted to do to it because I knew there was a good chance it wasn't all going to work, and it didn't. So the problem of recapping was the stairs didn't fit flush, because what I did is that 3 millimeter lip right there that I have in it, I failed to account for that when I put the stairs in there. So if you look, it's exactly that 3 millimeter offset. That's the reason the stairs were kicked out. Simple, silly mistake. But it kicked out from away from the gazebo and away from the top of that. And then I also had a misalignment, and this one was just a flat out mistake. I misaligned the slot for the stairs. So recap, those were 2 things I needed to add. I made all the other additions, and this is the final outcome, and I am quite pleased with it. I'm very, very, very happy with that design. All the little extra details, and if we look at the top, how all of the slots and tabs are hidden, the extra little accent pieces on the roof, hide those. They look really clean, really, really nice. And I like the clock. Maybe you might want to do something different with yours, but I really like the clock, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere. But the additional engraving around the lattice to help break that up and frame it, that looks good. And then I like the blue framing there to help hide those slots, but I don't know, that's the only thing about it that's kind of like maybe just engrave a frame around it and you see the slots. But I like this, and I'm very, very pleased with it. This design will be, or is, on hobowithwood.com. Hobowithwood.com. If you are a patron, you're able to download it for free or at a very good discount. Gold patrons get them for free. Silver gets it at 80% off, and bronze gets it at 60% off. So if you've watched this entire video throughout, you now have the knowledge to to design this yourself. But if you enjoy the content and learning how to do these things, but yet you just don't have the time, well, if you sign up as a patron on patreon.com/hobowithwood, you can get these files for free and have the knowledge of how to do this and continue to support this channel and allow me to continue to share videos like this with you and the rest of the world. This has been a lot of work. It's been a really good journey. I'm really, really happy with that outcome, especially considering, and I wished I had one of the basic templates here that had nothing else in it. I've got one somewhere, but those are the same files. Well, they started out as the same file anyway. Again, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Steve, Hobo with Wood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Go over to patreon.com/hobowithwood and support this channel and keep these videos coming. I am Steve, Hobo with Wood, and I'm out.